listening to Fishing the DMV with your hosts, Thomas Ahrens and Jared Mounts. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Alrighty, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back live from the Augusta County Show and Fishing Show and Expo. I have the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that makes this whole thing work. Doug, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Hey, Thomas, how's it going, man?
It's going great. Thanks for having us again.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Thank you all.
How many years have you been doing this now?
This is our 11th year.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yep. Started in the small building next door, and now we're in the big building.
I mean, this thing just keeps seeming like it's bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah, I've already talked to the management here about getting the other side as well to get boats and stuff in next year.
Oh, wow.
So if everything works out great, it's just getting bigger.
How's the fishing club going, too?
Fishing club is going great. Last year was our 20th year. We had over 80 members. Still getting big.
That's insane. With those 80 boats, has that started to affect where you can go fishing as it keeps getting bigger and bigger?
Some places, yeah, but we have to coordinate with the marina before we can schedule everything. But everybody don't come all at one time. You know, you might have 40 boats, you might have 30 boats. You know, it kind of staggers them out, but we haven't had them all at one time.
What would you consider right now, looking into this year, the place on the schedule you're looking forward to the most?
Probably the Chickahominy.
The river or the lake?
The river.
The river.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the Chick, and I like Lake Chesden as well, the lake.
Oh, you guys going to Chesden too this year? Oh, nice.
We've been going there for the last couple of years, and it's a good lake.
It doesn't get the love it deserves. It's a really cool little place that no one really, it's like sneaky.
It is, and then these guys are pulling some big bags out there.
Some really big bags.
Yes, same as the Chick. So last year, our one of our members broke the all club record with 22:03 out of Chesden.
22:03.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then our other member had the biggest bag for the 2-day tournament with 32 something, 32:33.
That is really good.
Yes. Yeah, really good. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the Chick. Looking forward to Chesden. And also Potomac. We're doing Potomac getting this year.
Okay. When is Potomac on the schedule?
I want to say May 17th.
May 17th? Okay.
Yeah, May 17th or May 18th. I'm not right off. Yeah, but it's around that month of May.
And then, guys, if you want to, come on down to the show today. We're going to be open until, I think it's 7
o'clock.
7 o'clock today, 3 p.m. tomorrow. So you guys can come in here, shop, grab some cool things, and then be home in time for the Super Bowl. When you're doing this show, I don't think people appreciate, I've had Les on to talk about this before for Richmond and Raleigh, but this is a lot of work. When does it start? Let's say for 2026, when does your work start?
July.
Okay.
I start sending vendor applications in July, then probably start emailing and calling and promoting it more around December, January, more around Thanksgiving. We start promoting and reaching out and calling and making phone calls, and people start sending their stuff in. And then, of course, the last 2 weeks, I get people call and say, "Hey, I didn't even know this take place. Can I be a vendor?" Sure. So, yeah, it starts in July and works your way all the way up until the day of the day. Yeah.
How many vendors did you have your first year?
My first year doing it on the small side, I'd only had 20 vendors. And now, as of today, I have 75.
75. That's impressive how much this has grown.
That's 75, and I was only, to put people in here comfortably, I could probably do 85. I don't want it so tight that elbow to elbow, but I wouldn't go no more than 85.
When people think of the Shenandoah Valley, especially this area, you know, it doesn't have a Smith Mountain Lake. It doesn't have some of those bigger places that are accustomed to bass tournaments. But this place does have some opportunities. If you told people to come on down here to fish, like what would be some things that they should highlight and hit?
Down here, Shenandoah Valley is Lake Moomaw is good. Shenandoah River, the James River, all on this side. They got good smallmouth, largemouth, and muskie. Of course, Moomaw has smallmouth, largemouth, and plus they have the lake trout and everything in there. Plus you have your local small reservoirs that stocks trout quarterly or every year in the mountains, you know, Augusta County, and people go trout fish.
How big are those lakes?
Elkhorn, I think Elkhorn is on the other south of the southern side of Augusta County. I think it's like 40 acres, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 30 acres. I think Braley's is probably 6 or 8 acres, but it's all spring fed. So they stock them, every spring, every fall.
Boy, there's got to be some really nice trout eaters in some of those lakes. I was thinking.
Yep. So yeah, I mean that's what this side. But most of all the bass anglers like us, we always have to go across the mountain.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I mean, it's not when you have a state like we have. You have so many opportunities. Like it's not that far of a commute really to go to be able to have success.
I think the furthest we ever been was Bugs. We went to Bugs last year, and that's the furthest we've been. So that's about 3 hours, 5 minutes from us.
So wow, so Chesnon's closer. Well, that's pretty. I didn't realize that.
It's about the same distance as Chick.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2 hours, 10 minutes.
Oh man, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then guys, what we're going to be doing here is we have our next seminar here. We got Mike coming on to talk about sonar, and then we're going to be getting some guests on from the booth. We're going to be sprinkling that in here today as well. So just hang tight here. But Doug, if people want to come by the show, is there anything else to promote and just give them the deets?
Yeah, guys, come on out today. Like Thomas said, it's 9 to 7 today, 9 to 3 tomorrow. If you're interested in becoming a vendor, just holler at me on Facebook, and we'll get you taken care of for next year.
There you have it, guys. So what we're going to do is we have Mike coming on at 1 o'clock here, and we're going to be doing a live stream there as well. So hang tight, and we'll be right back.
It would be good if that was down. Well, it used to be down there until it fell down all the time. Remember that? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was last year. Yeah. You gotta tweak it so much. You know? It's all the way out, like, all the way out. Yep. Only thing you might need to do. These are all supposed to be. They're all the way out. Whoop, whoop. Hey. That look like anything on your end?
A little bit. I can kind of see it. You're gonna have to describe it though. Do you mind wearing a mic?
That's fine. Yeah. Further out. I've got downstream. I'm gonna say here, you know, or two here. I think that's good. No, he's here to do more something. I'm sitting there I do every year. Like that, let's go. Yeah. You know something about sonar? A little bit. I've been teaching it for 30 years. 30 years? Not that long. Oh no. I said they can buy fishing. That's how we used to fish years ago. Oh, I busted it. Oh. What did I do? You broke it. This myself. Uh-oh. I'm not sure what you did there. I can't help you. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not sure what you did there. Oh, it's on this end. Well, now we can straighten it. It was on the computer end. See, the problem too is that it's not. Get this under here. About like that. Something else in it? Or just push it further under. Hold your box. There you go. All right. You want more? Good. All right. Right there. All right. Just hold still good. They're doing it or no? Not bad. I got another piece if you need it. One more. Keep flopping out. Hold on. We're going to fix it where it won't. I promise you that. All right. Damn. The thing still dropped down, didn't it? Probably not high enough to sit on that, is it? It's going to be way above it. Well, I need it to be up anyway. Lift the whole thing up. We'll lift the race whole thing? Yeah. Move it up. Trying to get it up and then got it. And then up like that. Got one more piece. One more piece. Let me get that back. Oh, that's pretty good, right? Hold what you got right there. There we go. Oh, shoot. I don't know about this stand here, bud. This thing ain't working. That's a good computer. Hey, you got no signal. Huh? But you're all right. You're plugged in there. They come out. There you go. There's your signal back. Okay, now, right there. I'm leaving it there. I'm not touching it again. Get on your front off. Check, check, check. Hello? About that. That's good. They got one of those. Oh, my knapsack. All right. That's a sign of a good computer when it can hit the ground and not break. That's pretty good. Oh, that's fine too. Okay. Hopefully we'll keep everything together here. Nice being out here in Fisherville again. I guess it's about my second or third year out here at this show. And my specialty now in this bass fishing industry has been sonar, and it's been that for I don't know how many years. My name is Mike Delvisco. I've been now, let's see, this will be 43 years fishing professionally, and this is going to start my 43rd year on tour, which is going to be kind of cool. Looking forward to getting out there again in just about 3 more weeks. And I'll tell you one thing about sonar. As long as I've been doing this, And as long as I've been teaching it, last year I had one of my very best years in the last 5 or 6 years, and I didn't turn a live scope on once. I kind of went back to old school fishing, 2D map, reading the banks, reading the water, figuring out how to catch some fish. I kind of wasn't having fun the last 5 or 6 years. It was fishing had changed. Kind of getting away from some things that I used to do, that I used to like to fish, and getting caught up in what everyone else is doing out in the middle of the lake, chasing ghost fish around. And I kind of decided, okay, I'm going to change things up. So I changed towards, and I changed schedules, and I changed lakes, and I went to a whole bunch of different lakes that I like to fish, where I can go fish my strength. And I had fun again. Won 2 events, had a second, and another one, had a couple top fives, caught big fish everywhere I went all around the country, no matter what time of year it was. And I had fun doing it. I had a chatterbait, a spinnerbait, a flipping stick, and a buzzbait in my hand all year round. And a lot of what I used to do years ago is what I'm going to teach you guys here today. How do we, understand what our sonar graphs are telling us? How do we figure out how to catch more fish with it? Let's see. Get that right there. And how do we better use it to our advantage? So over the years, stuff's changed quite a bit. As you know, if you remember having flasher units on your boats years ago, I still, every once in a while, you'll see stuff like that. And let me make sure we need to get this away. I don't drop my computer anymore, so. Okay, that should be good. So, yeah, over the years, things have changed quite a bit. So I remember the very first professional tournament that I ever fished. I was a senior in high school. It was the Bassmaster Invitational at St. Lawrence River, which is in Alexandria Bay, up there in upstate New York. Flows into Lake Ontario. Big body of water, isn't it? How do we go navigate those waters back then? How do we find fish back then with very, very primitive sonar equipment, flashers and LCD units that went on the bottom right there? I remember I saw a video a couple of weeks ago. They were previewing the 1982 Bassmaster Classic boat. State of the art. This thing was, it was state of the art for back in 1982. It was a 17-foot Ranger, 335, 150 horsepower motor. It had flashers on it, and it had a revolutionary LCD screen, big screen fish finder on it. That's what we had back then in 1982. That was the first year that I fished a major tournament, invitational tournament, that year of the Classic. And now look at where things have gone. Just look around at, shows like this, or going to Bass Pro or Cabela's, and look at what we've got for technology now. And really, over the years, things have changed, but in essence, sonar hasn't changed. It still works the same way it did, 30 years ago, and it still works the same today, and it's going to continue to work the same way. And no matter what you've got for equipment, no matter what whether it's a Lowrance, a Bird, a Garmin, flashers, chart recorder, touch screen, keypad machine, it all works the same way. And that basic premise of how sonar works is regular 2D sonar. Sound travels in the water 4,800 feet per second. It sends a signal down through that transducer, hits the bottom, tells you what's on the screen. Pretty simple. When you understand 2D, regular traditional sonar lets you find on a 4-inch machine, you'll understand everything else. So down scan, side scan, live stuff. When you kind of know what you're sorry, haven't coughed all day, and I get up here to do a seminar, start coughing. Once you kind of understand this, it becomes kind of easy. So It's going to tell me how deep the water is, but there's other things that I want to know by looking at 2D. And this is how I fished a lot of the time last year, is I looked at bottom composition. And if you've ever heard that expression that 90% of the fish live in 10% of the lake, it's really true. Um, I can tell you a bunch of times that once you've got the pattern figured out by actually either fishing or looking at your sonar, you can just drive around the lake and go find stuff. And I think one of the most important things is having a good map and understanding how to read that map. And I still get paper maps of everywhere that I'm going to go fish. We have a new lake on tour this year that I hadn't fished. I know about it. I've read about it, but I've never casted a line in it. It's called Lake Weiss in Alabama. I've already got some paper maps of that lake. I'm starting to look at it, starting to get, kind of wrap my head around where I want to go fish and what I want to do. But if you've got a really good map, you'll be able to find a lot of stuff that in 2D sonar. So this is important. This is important right here. So 2D, what am I actually looking at when I drive over something? So, and I understand that everybody fishes for different things probably here. Everyone's got different types of boats. I've got a bass boat, so I've got 2 units on the console. I've got 1 unit up front. Pretty simple setup. If I'm in my console and I'm idling around in my boat with 2D sonar and I drive over something, it's a rock pile, it's a brush pile, it's a transition between hard and soft bottom. The first thing I do, thank you, honey. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get a triangle. If it's something that I want to save, I'm going to get a triangulation. That's the old school to me. That's how we used to figure out what things were or where they were years ago. So you would get a spot to the right, a spot to the left, something straight ahead, and I would triangulate the spot that's right underneath me. But I would know, because of the frequency that my 2D is operating on, that I've selected the right frequency where it is. So you may turn your unit on and go to menu screen and see 200 kilohertz. You may see 83 kilohertz, or you may see 50. There's not many freshwater applications right now where they're still using 50 kilohertz. That's like for saltwater stuff, really deep. It has real good deep water penetration, but poor shallow water operation. So anything several hundred feet, don't worry about having use the 50 kilohertz. Freshwater fishing, 200 or 83, either one of those two. And I'll show you, there's only about 1% of the time when I'm ever using 83. 99% of the time it's 200 kilohertz. But I could also see something that says chirp frequency. And what chirp does is it varies that particular frequency up and down, so that if you get fish that are real deep or fish that are in the bait in the fall of the year when there's a lot of bait fish in the water, or they're really tight to the bottom. So you're really not seeing them too good on your regular 2D, but you put your chirp on and you're able to pull those fish. It has good separation quality. So 200 kilohertz and high chirp are the same, 83 and medium are the same, and 50 and low chirp are the same. So when I get in a situation where I want a little bit more clarity, I use my chirp sonar. Pretty much standard is 200 kilohertz. And here's how the math works. So for every 30 foot of water that you have with 200 kilohertz or high chirp, you're looking at 10 foot, 10 foot right on the bottom. So, because sonar's in a cone, so the deeper you go, the more you look at. And that's great if I want pinpoint accuracy on the fish, because when I drive over them or right underneath them, I kind of know where they are. Whereas with when I change to a lower frequency, I get a much bigger cone. That's why I want 200 kilohertz. I want pinpoint accuracy. So when I drive over an object, something that I want to fish, I want to know it's right under the boat. So kind of putting back that scenario, I'm in my boat and I'm idling around. I drive over something. I look at the depth, number one. And typically, if I'm bass fishing, 30 foot's pretty deep for me to go, catch one on the bottom. That's summertime stuff. If you're looking for brush piles and transitions and stuff out there deep or drop offs, that 28 to 30 foot zone's usually pretty good. But most of the time, I tell you what, I don't think I caught a fish deeper than 8 feet last year. That was deep for me last year fishing, and a lot of that was half of that. So, think about that 30 foot, 10 foot deal. So 30 foot, 10 foot circle, 15 foot, 5 foot circle, 7.5 foot, 2.5, or 2.25. So it's all relative to how deep the water is. And that plays into a lot of different things. It plays into what fish look like, and being able to tell. One of my favorite things to go look at is transition stuff, hard, soft, bottom. And right here is a real good example of hard, soft, bottom. So as that sonar is pinging down there off the bottom, it returns the strength of the signal. So it tells you how deep the water is, but it also returns the strength. So softer bottoms absorb the sonar and make it more yellow. Hard bottom repels it, makes it more red. Now, that's if you have this particular color palette on. This is what they call Lowrance yellow. It comes preset. As soon as you get a Lowrance unit, you turn it on. It has that palette on. If you have a Garmin, it does not come. I forget what. I think it comes with rusted steel or one of those other palettes. So you need to go to your menu screen and go to appearance and go to view and go. I think it's either yellow or number one on your Garmin, or classic yellow, what they call it. In Humminbird, it's number one, the number one palette. And you'll be able to get this exact same palette as yellow to red. I think that one does the best job of telling hard, soft bottom and fish, because that's really important too, what your fish are going to look like. Because these fish look all different ways on the screen depending upon what you're doing, and different fish look different ways too. So this is a really good, it's kind of hard to see, but if you look up top, right where that slope is coming down, you'll see that red patch right there. It transitions into yellow, back to red, and then down here towards the bottom, there's some more red. So those are transitions between soft bottom, hard bottom, soft bottom, hard bottom. And if you think about that whole depth thing with where things are located, a lot of those fish sometimes, look at that second group of fish right here. They're all right on that hard bottom rock. That's where they are. So knowing exactly where stuff is under the boat helps you be able to fish it more effectively. There's a little adjustment too that you can make, which will help quite a bit. And in Lowrance, it's under the advanced pane, and it's called color line, and usually about 76%. And what that does is it shades a little bit more red in places where it needs it. So it's kind of a fine tuning of that yellow to red color palette. Garmin machine, it's called color gain, and it's under appearance, advanced, color gain, and it's -2 or -3 for you guys fishing Garmin's. And then Humminbird, it's contrast. 9 or 10 on your contrast will get you this kind of this shading here to be able to tell a little bit more red around some of your yellow. And here's where this really helps too. It really helps with fish identification. So I bass fish, and I know what bass look like because I've seen quite a few of them. They're typically in smaller little groups, 2 or 3, 4, depending upon what lake you go to. Catfish, if you guys fish for any catfish, is going to be a big long mark on the bottom, either a big straight line or an arch. Stripers will kind of look similar to these fish that are up here that are kind of streaking through the water. A lot of straight lines that are streaking this way, or they're going to be noodly. And then crappie will be red, blotchy, round marks with some separation in them. Those are about the 4 things that most everybody fishes for. This little shot right here is just a bunch of bait fish with some fish that are streaking through the bait, feeding on it. But fish look different in different ways depending upon, number one, what you're doing, how fast you're moving, and what the fish is. Now, this is a simulator picture of what things might look like out in the water, but I don't ever go fishing where there's that many fish in the lake. And this is just a depiction of a bunch of different arches on your screen. Fish arch one of two ways. And very rarely will you see them arch if you're not moving pretty fast or more than idle speed. And what happens when a fish arches on your screen is it swims right through your cone or you drive over the fish. So if you're in your boat and you're idling around and you idle over a bunch of fish, they're going to look like that. Those are all carp, by the way, on the fish finder screen. If you don't do that and you're just sitting still, so let's say you're driving around your boat, you see all kinds of arches on your screen. So you move, the boat moves, the transducer cone moves, cone passes over the fish, and the fish does this. And the reason why it looks like an arch is on the outside edge of this cone, it's a weaker signal. Towards the center, it's stronger. So you get that kind of bowing effect on the fish. So a bigger fish with your color line set right is going to appear more red. That's why these look really red. They're big carp. If you're catfishing, you want to look for a big, a big mark, but close to the codfish used typically be close to the bottom. Big mark close to the bottom. And if it's a big enough catfish, I will tell you that I've seen red on one side and yellow on the other taper down. So you know that side's his head and that side's his body. So you can get really pinpoint accurate on some of these things if you've got stuff set right. But if those fish do not swim through the cone or you don't pass over them, you're going to see something like that. And if you see right here, if you can look up top where those ones kind of arch, that one kind of arches, and then I'm slowing down right here. So that one kind of flattens out and that one does, and those flatten out. It happens pretty quick. So as soon as you put your boat in neutral, you start to come to a slow down a little bit. You'll see those lines going from arching like this to flattening out. So I'll look for, if I'm bass fishing, some small little marks and not such big marks. If I see a lot of big red marks in it, they are definitely not bass. Unless it's a really big school. I got a picture of that coming up here again, but it's not one continuous line. So there's a couple little things. I don't adjust a whole bunch. Couple little things you can do, especially if you're fishing out of like an aluminum boat when you've got your transducers mounted externally, is you get a lot of noise and you get a lot of wave slap and you get a lot of surface clutter. And there's two things: there's noise rejection, surface clarity. And each of those work kind of hand in hand. The noise rejection helps more in the water column from the top down. And then the surface clarity helps up top there. So if you typically get a lot of surface noise in an aluminum boat, if you've got your transducers mounted on the outside, you want to set both of those to either low or medium and almost never touch them again. That's going to clear your screen up and let you see stuff a whole lot better. And then the other thing would be either sensitivity or gain, depending upon the type of unit that you've got. And this usually comes preset. Everything's, software driven now. So the units run really good right out of the box. But I find that Lowrance is sometimes a little too low and Garmin is a little too high. So you got to increase one or decrease the other until you see a pretty good picture. And what I'm looking for is separation. I want to see the bottom, I want to see the cover, and I want to see the bait or the fish. I want to see all three of those things. And it's a little hard to see, but this is a 20-foot long, 20-foot deep flat. This is the real picture. This is Kentucky Lake. And you'll see some fish on that side of the screen that I've already gone over. They arch pretty good. And then soft bottom. You can see that yellow is the bottom. That's their soft bottom. And then there's a red object, a bigger red object, kind of a standing up red object like this, and then another red object. You see three of them. So what that is an old bridge piling. And somebody has put brush in there over the years. Probably more people have put brush in it over the years. And they're kind of keeping that bait and keeping the fish around there and just spicing that cover up a little bit, throwing some brush piles down there. And the reason I know that they're not rocks is because the bottom is yellow. I've got separation between the bottom and the brush. If that was all red, then it'd be rock. So the brush also looks a little bit different. And if you think about brush piles, they're not all the same. Some are small, some are big, some are made of, pine, some are hardwood. There's all different types of things you can make brush piles out of. And that much smaller one, the first one that's on the left-hand side, is a much smaller brush pile than the next one right next to it, which is a much bigger brush pile. That's why you see yellow in the bigger one, because there's more space in between the branches. And that is all in that color line adjustment that we set. Now you can set that color adjustment way high so that everything turns red, but I don't want that. I want to have some separation between things. So that's why we see a little bit different, or a mixture, is I know that there's some spacing in between that brush. Obviously the bridge piling is going to be hard, so that's the hardest structure, and that's the one that's really red. And then the other brush pile is run right before the drop, right before you drop off. But the interesting thing about this is I can tell you what fish I want to try to go catch just by looking at that. And it's a little hard to see, but up on top of that brush pile is about the 10-foot mark, and there's a bunch of fish up on top of that brush pile. There's a whole bunch on the other side too. But the ones that are around the cover are the ones I'm going to want to try to catch, because they're going to be the easiest ones. Any fish, I don't care what you're fishing for, whether it's crappie, bass, bluegills, catfish, stripers, they're all going to relate to some kind of structure, and that's how they're going to feed. So if I'm trying to catch ones that are feeding or ones that are aggressive, the ones around the cover will be the ones I want to try to catch. They're a lot easier to target. They're a lot easier to cast to. They're going to be a lot easier to cast than to catch, as opposed to the ones that are just suspended out in the middle of nowhere. And I can also tell you, because I know what depth the fish are at, because I have separation, that spinner baits or lipless crankbaits or a DT10, Rapala crankbait, a swim bait, something that I can control the depth and keep it down about the 10-foot level, will be the baits that I want to pick. Even the topwater, if it's warm enough and those fish will come up, topwater bait's a great choice too. But something that I can fish above the line of sight of those fish, as opposed to something that's down on the bottom where the fish are not. They're not going to go swim down to the bottom to go bite that bait. So just kind of understanding a little bit about what you're seeing and how to relate that to what you're fishing helps quite a bit. But here's the deal with your sensitivity or your game, is that if I get in water that's 18 foot and deeper, and my picture kind of all blends together, I want to increase my sensitivity or gain a little bit. If it's the opposite and I'm 15 foot and shallower and my picture's blending, I want to decrease my sensitivity or gain a little bit until I start seeing some separation. And sometimes it's not a lot, just a little bit. A couple of clicks up, couple of clicks down is about all you'll need, and you'll start to look pretty good. And I think this next one, this next picture is, so there's a rock pile. There's the difference. Oops. Let's go back here. So that's the difference between rocks. You can see this, and it's kind of hard to see. It's easier to see on the computer, but you'll see like each shadow of each rock that's down there. That's, instead of just having that yellow bottom with the red on top, you'll be able to see shadows on those rock piles. A little hard to see, but okay. Let's talk a little bit about this. Question I get quite a bit is side scan. And I do, when I'm not out touring and fishing, I do on the water classes with people back home in Tennessee. And this is probably the one thing more than forward facing sonar, because not everybody's got forward facing sonar now. I have it because you kind of got to have it. But like I said, I didn't catch fish with it last year. I had a pretty good season. Side scan is the question I get asked about quite a bit. They have it, they turn it on, but they're not sure why they're either not seeing the same thing that they see in their, Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's or other places where they're seeing similar modes, and why things don't look as good as they do, and they should. So a lot of this is depth of water, frequency, how far you're trying to look side to side, what your range is, and there's a lot of different factors that go into how well you're going to be able to see something. Um, so right here, we're kind of cut off from the bottom, but we're looking 100 feet to the left, 100 feet to the right. And in the middle, right up here, that's where your transducer is, your boat. And if we take that and we overlay that onto the screen, a little hard to see, but our cones are going out to the side. So they're going left and right. And they'll go out as far as you want it to look. You can go out 500 feet if you want to. The spot in the middle, so right here in back of my boat, so this circle right here, because the cone's not wide enough yet to see the bottom of the lake, that's emptiness or water column. You'll see fish and you'll see bait in there if it's pretty close to the boat, but typically it's only 15 or 20 foot out, depending upon the depth of your water that you're going before you start to see the bottom. And then the bottom is all of this from here on this side out, and from here on that side out as far as you tell it to go. That's the stuff I'm looking for. So that's where I want to find structure, cover. And I don't drive around just looking for, 3 or 4 fish, 5 fish. If I see some fish, it's great. But that's more of like a database for me. So I'll go scan, and let me back up here 1 second. My approach to going out practice fishing, if it's an event or a tournament or something like that, I need to go fishing first. I can't get behind the boat and just go drive around out in the lake for 8 hours trying to find some fish, never to throw a plug at them. I like at least the first couple of days going fishing. It's fun catching. That's why I go. I go catch fishing to catch fish. So I find a lot of things that I find with a rod and reel, and then I figure out how to do more of it on my sonar. I kind of reverse of what all these the young kids are doing. They'll sit behind their boat and they'll go drive around for 8 hours, and then they'll go fish. I like doing it the other way around. I've got more confidence knowing that I can catch a fish on a certain thing and then go duplicate it on my sonar. So I'll use my side scan to look for more things like I'm catching fish on. So if it's brush or rocks or drop offs or transitions, all this sort of stuff, that's what I'm looking for. So here's a couple of important things. Number one is pallet. That is the pallet that comes standard when you turn a Lowrance unit on. It's number 6. I don't think it's the best one for contrast and cover, finding fish, looking for things. I like an amber pallet, which is number 10. There's probably a couple new ones on Lowrance now. Number 10 is really good. It's an amber. The amber one on Garmin's really good. And then number 2 and number 3 on your Humminbirds are really good. Those contrast really good because I'm looking for light spots like this one up top right here. This transition stuff between dark and light right here. This stuff right here. Drop offs and rocks and just, stuff that's just different. And it's going to be all contrast as well as your fish. And it's hard. I know it's hard to see, but these bright dots right here, bright yellow dots, are going to be fish on your side scan. So amber's really good. And then blue is also really good. I like blue more on cloudy days, First thing in the morning, a little later on in the day, a little bit dingier water. Blue really works good because it contrasts really nice. And your fish are going to look more white on those palettes. But picking the right one is really important. And then picking the range is really important too. And you can run your units in automatic range mode, so sideways automatic, and it will automatically go 4 times whatever your bottom is. So in 15 feet, it'll look out 60 feet. In 25 feet, it'll look out 100. But if you get shallow, 5, 8 feet, it's only looking 30 some odd foot out. That's not a lot. That's, for me right over there. I need to take advantage of the range to be able to get the most out of my unit. So this is where it's different for everybody because everyone has different size fish finders. So if you've got let's just say you've got the most popular size fish finder, you've got a 9-inch, whether it's a Lowrance Elite or a Garmin 93 SV or a Helix 9 or something like that. You've got a 9-inch fish finder, and you try to look out 200 feet to the side on your 9-inch fish finder. Well, it takes that whole 200 feet and it compresses it into a 9-inch screen. I've got a 16-inch screen on the front of my boat, on the console of my boat, so I've got double the viewing area with the same amount of distance. Whose picture is going to be better? Mine will. So it's just relative to how far you're looking and the size of your screen. I like 80 to 100 feet on every size screen, and that's about the best picture that you're going to get with any size screen with any distance, 80 to 100. So I'm going to take it off of automatic mode, and I'm going to go and adjust it myself. So you just go to menu screen, go to range, go to your distance, and you can go, I think I put it on like 200 foot here, but you could go up to 500 feet. Don't go that much. Go probably max, go maybe 150 max. 80 to 100 is perfect for most applications. The other thing too is frequency. So you can pick, just like with 2D sonar, frequency was important because I want pinpoint accuracy looking down. Sometimes pinpoint isn't great with side scan because I don't go distance or depth. So this is all dependent upon how deep the water is. If you're more than 40 foot deep and you turn your high frequency side scan on, whether it's Mega, whether it's UHD, or whether it's Lowrance's new one, and that's the highest frequency that they've got. So on your side, the higher frequency closes the beam. When you close the beam and you've got this much water, it never gets where it needs to go to see the bottom. So sometimes if I'm in deeper water, maybe you're striper fishing, or you're trolling for stripers, or you're just looking around, you've got and you're in 50, 60, 70 foot of water, and you turn your high frequency on, you don't see anything. You see a little bit on one side, on the shoreline side, where it gets a little shallower, but you don't see anything out on the deep side. That's because the depth of the water outran the beam. So then I want to go to my my lower frequency, and that opens the beam up a little bit. So if I don't see what I need to see with high frequency, I'll go to 455. And that's here's another thing too. If you're fishing deeper bluff banks or those 45-degree banks, and I don't know if I don't fish around here a lot, but I fished Smith Mountain and Bugs and places like that, plenty of places like that. So I've heard Moomow. Is it got some deep bluffs and stuff? Yeah. So that's if you're looking to try to take advantage of those deeper bluffs and find those key little things, the 455 will do a really good job because it's a more open beam, looking at that terrain. So just remember what frequency. If you're not seeing a good picture, decrease your frequency and you'll open the beam up. When you do that, however, you need to adjust your contrast or your gain a little bit. So typically the lower frequency, lower contrast, lower gain. Higher frequency, higher contrast, higher gain. And you can adjust that until your picture starts to look good. It's all math for side scan. Is anybody fishing the little live stuff? Anybody got active target, Mega Live 2? A couple people. Gonna be a little hard to see this, but so this just lets you look. It lets you get a live view of what's going on underwater, basically. So you can see, you see brush the way it is. You see bait fish and fish, and I learned a lot about what not to do by doing this. I do not catch everything that's in front of my screen that's swimming around. Um, like I said, I'm a little bit more old school. So what I like to do, I'm going to set this scenario up real quick. So I'm in my boat and I'm idling around. I drive over a brush pile of my 2D sonar. I get a triangulation left, right, and straight, and I memorize that spot, and I figure out where it is. Now, years ago, we never had maps on our screens, did we, where we could just save a waypoint? So I would get my notebook out and I would write that down in my notebook, and I would put a mark on my paper map with a pen referencing the note I made on my notebook. Once I got that, I would get away from the spot and I'd start fishing. And the minute I caught a fish, I would drop a marker buoy next to the boat. That was spot lock 30 years ago. Now what you can do is do all that stuff right from your fish finder screen. So I can drive over it, still get a triangulation because I do every time, save a waypoint, get away from it, drop my Mega Live or my active target or my live scope right in front of it, and I can tell how far away I am from that cover. I can see how fish are interacting with the cover, how they're reacting with the bait, how they react with the baits that I'm throwing down there, whether they're biting them or not, and what I need to do to adjust. But you can look forward or you can look straight down. And you can look what's also called either scout or perspective, which is taking your transducer and flopping it sideways. So you look at a big piece this way. So the beam on all the lives it's more oval than it is totally round. So you don't see a lot out to the sides. You're pretty much fixed. Wherever your point is at is where you're looking. So I can stay and I can cast exactly where I need to throw right at that cover. But just because you're throwing at something doesn't mean you're catching. So this is the very first video I ever took with one of these things. And it's hard to see, but look at those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fish right there under my boat. This is straight down. They swim out of that one brush pile and they're swimming over to this other one. And they're under the boat. There goes my bait. I know it's hard to see. I'm getting on top of that other brush pile now, almost straight down from it. And I'm going to drop my bait. There it is right there. Drop my bait right in it, and you can just barely see it. They don't want to bite it. So I'm already bummed out that I hadn't caught one already. Oh, oops. Try to stop that one more time. If you noticed, there was one fish that showed up right there. See that one just all of a sudden flashed? So if you think about this, that fish was not in the cone. I'm straight down, so I'm not looking at a lot left, right. That fish saw the bait and swam in to try to bite it. And that's a lot of the bites I get happen that way. So just because you see them on the screen doesn't mean you catch them. If you're not catching them, watch for the one that comes in to try to bite it. And that's forward. I actually had that happen with 2D sonar one time. Saw the fish totally arch right on the screen, swam right in the cone in 15 foot of water right under the boat. Only time I've ever had that happen. So I learned a lot more about.
Yoink. Do, 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 do.
How much time?
No, we're live right now.
We are?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the warning.
Well, you see,
Thomas?
I don't care because I have no, what do you call it? Filter? No couth, whatever. No self-respect, depending on how you want to call it. So I don't care. As long as I just don't have my pants off. We're good. We're always in that in a little bit more. Anyway, so guys, we are live back here from the Augusta County show. We've been going all day, and honestly, knock on wood, the Wi-Fi's been pretty good. We were able to actually live stream some of the seminars, which is awesome. I know, because Richmond was kind of
We didn't have that in Richmond.
We did not have that in Richmond.
No.
It was not good in Richmond at all. But again, that's not Les's fault. That is what it is. We will have Starlink next year. We already put that on the Christmas wish list.
Sweet.
So, yeah, we have this guy, the man, the myth, legend, Carter of the Basscast. What up, boss?
What up? How's everyone out there in podcast world doing today?
How's life been?
Life's been great. This is my final Expo 2025. So I know Thomas has a couple more he has to be at, but this is mine until I go to Redcrest.
Ooh. When's Redcrest this year?
It is in April.
Nice.
In Alabama again. I cannot wait to be there.
That is, the Red Crest is one that I've been wanting to go to. I mean, it's that up there with the classic. I mean, how would you compare them between that, the Red Crest, and the Forest Wood?
That's hard to compare. Actually, I would say the Red Crest is probably 2 steps above the Forest Wood Cup.
Ooh,
when they had the Forest Wood Cup. Guys, I got blessed. I had never been to a Forest Wood Cup, and I got to go to the last one before the big shakeup in Major League Fishing took them over. But I got to go to the last one, so it was really cool. And their expo was half the size of this one.
Really?
Yes. You were done in 5 minutes.
What does that mean for the fishing industry?
But okay, let's rewind, guys. We got to go back probably 10 years. Been that long. But I mean, it's something that they didn't really, I guess didn't push. It wasn't their main bread and butter. Because if you guys go to a classic, we all know it's coming to Tennessee next year, back to Knox Vegas. We're really excited about that. And you're looking, it could take you 3 days to walk through the expo.
Yeah, that's the one thing. It seems like the Bassmaster Classic definitely has the best expo out there for the big three, which is kind of interesting there.
It's marketing. I mean, it's how you promote your brand and how we promote our brand as well as Thomas promotes his. I mean, that's really what it is. And when you got the outlet, I mean, Bassmaster, 1 or 2 million Facebook followers to follow Bassmaster. That's just one platform. So, I mean, when they can put up a video, gets hundreds of thousands of views, your product's going to be seen and it's going to be heard. And you got to go where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. So, I mean, it's like at a cross for everything. So, but Major League Fishing now with their expo, it was really good last year. It's probably one of their biggest expos. It's back down in Alabama, different lake, but it should be a really cool event in 2025. So we're ready to get back down there and have another great time going to this. So.
No, it should be a really, really cool expo. It should be a great event. What do you have coming up for the Basscast?
Well, today, guys, we're up here in Augusta County. We did a Patreon-only episode of Basscast Radio with local angler, Mr. Martin Villa. Yes, Martin Villa. So join our Patreon. You get the show. I got another show. I've got a brand new Patreon member who came on this week. I'll send him a show. But we did a Patreon-only show last week with Shaw Grigsby. So check it out. I'm trying to, we're at these shows. We got anglers there. We're trying to, gobble up as much content for you all as possible. So check it out. And we recorded a show last week. And we got another, what did we have on last week? Good gosh. The week goes by so fast. But we got another show coming up this week. I'll think about it here in a second. My ADD is kicking in.
Yeah, who did we have on? We had David Williams.
Right.
Dave Miller?
Miller. Yes. We talked about the first Bassmaster Open from last year. That was really freaking cool. And Dave, what it's kind of like being in the north part of the United States, as northern as you can almost get, fishing all these events. And we kind of talked about the new breakdown for the Opens, new qualifications, and how it kind of played better for him, and we did a little back and forth about that. But that's dropping Monday, and then we got a really cool show coming up. We're going to be doing this Wednesday, and we're going to be talking about the FFS forward-facing sonar and just the electronics as a whole and bass boats. you know, we Thomas likes bringing up how much it costs and how expensive all this has gotten, and it has gotten really expensive. And it's now a rich man's sport. We're going. It's almost as bad as NASCAR.
Mm-hmm. It really is. It's insane, like how expensive it's gotten. Boats costing over $100,000 plus electronics, plus gas, plus your truck. Trucks are like $60,000-$70,000. It's absolutely insane.
That's why I still like going to South Boston, man. I mean, it's still expensive down there, but it's pretty freaking cool, and it's a great show. Go watch a little racing every now and again. But for you guys, my dad was in racing in the 70s. I mean, he was in NASCAR back in like 70, before I was born. I think they only did it for about 3 years with a local racer. Heck, he took 2 sets of tires in a car down there.
Did you race?
No, I never got into it. I did a little bit of the go-kart racing, but that's about it. But I never really got into it because he had gotten out of it by the time I was born. And then he had went same place I work full time. We all kind of went to work there, and it was a dedication. So life rolled on. But it was the same, And if you guys went back and looked at, like, the Bassmaster ran that TV show last year talking about Rick Cluns and, all the past anglers that have won. And, they were just weekend warriors in small boats winning big money. It wasn't that big. It was big for them back in. But, I mean, now, like you said, if you don't have $100,000, you can't compete.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to cash checks.
No, you're not, and that's just the shame of the sport is what it is. No, guys. I mean, guys, really go check out Brian Basscast Radio, and then also basscast.com. It's he absolutely rules the roost with what he does, and he also has fantastic people working for him that write amazing articles with, of course, like the Smith Mountain Lake, the legendary Smith Mountain Lake. Anything else you want to hype up and promote to everyone at home?
Excuse me, guys. I've recorded 3 shows, so sorry I'm coughing a little bit here. March the 8th, guys, the Basscast.com Tournament Series returns on the beautiful Smith Mountain Lake going out of the state park. I hope here in the next couple of weeks to drop you guys more information so you can get signed up and get registered. It's still $100 an event, still $25 per person registration fee. So we're excited about that this year on Smith Mountain Lake, so you guys get ready for that. We have probably some of the best anglers in Central Virginia come out and fish with us. Please don't let that scare you or anything. Anybody can win a tournament. But we'd love to have you. Our Patreon, like I said, we've been pushing that pretty hard this year. And also our newsletter. If you guys have not subscribed to our newsletter On the Line, it's dropped every other week. We got 3 great writers that write. We got a college kid, we got an old man. I'm just joking, Bruce. And so I mean, we got 3 different, and that's the cool thing about we got 3 different perspectives from 3 different age angler groups.
Yes, and
that's really freaking cool. Plus, that's the cool thing about Basscast Radio. I brought Thomas. I didn't bring nobody on. We met Thomas, asked him if he wanted to be on the show. He said yes, and it's the best thing. If you ask me, happened to me and Bass Geek was bringing Thomas on.
No, bless your heart.
Because we do get, guys, if you're not watching us, you're crazy. We got 3 different perspectives on the world of bass fishing in one freaking show.
Mm-hmm.
And even our shows, guys, where it's just us shooting the shit, is pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah,
and
those are the best shows. Those are the best shows, honestly.
And they really are the best shows. We just kind of relaxed, hanging out, and just talking about what's happening in the world of crazy bass fishing, tournament fishing, you name it. So check us out on all those different platforms. And like I said, thebasscast.com on Facebook and social media. That's where you can check us out.
And when do the shows drop?
Guys, our show drops every Monday morning at 5 a.m. On our YouTube channel, Basscast Radio. Or if you're on iTunes, if you're on Google, if you're on iHeartRadio, you can even say, hey, Alexa, play Basscast Radio, and it will play it for you. It'll play the latest episode. So we are wherever you need to be going up down the road. I know you guys, a lot of you guys anglers travel up and down the highways going to tournaments. Put us in, save us. That's what I do. This trip was an hour and a half for me to get here. I listened to 2 podcasts up. I saved 2 more. I'll listen to the 2 going home. So save us for the weekend. And hopefully we can help you, inspire you, or get you even fired up for your next bass tournament event. So, Basscast Radio.
Right there, guys. And then go check him out. Also, his website, really good information as always. He has every tournament that possibly goes on. If it's in the state, he's covering it.
It's on the schedule, guys. The biggest calendar in Virginia is on that website.
In Virginia, everybody. In Virginia.
Yes. If it's not on there, it's not my fault. That's all I can tell you. I ain't lying. You want to be promoted. You want your tournament series to be big. You want people to find out about you, and you don't want to be a little small club. I get thousands of people look at that calendar each and every week to know where they can go fishing.
And so what he's saying is it's Bruce's fault if it's not up there. That's what we're going to be saying. And I'm just going to be saying that or straight up. So Bruce,
it's not Bruce's fault.
Yeah,
I do it all.
It's on you, Bruce.
It's on you, Bruce.
So, guys, this is what we're going to be doing here. We're going to be taking a short little commercial break, and then we'll be firing up a brand new live stream. This will be our third and final one of the day here from the Augusta County. Go check us out. Hang tight. We're going to be back about 2:30. So, see you then. Bye.
Bye.